Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, peoplings. We have much to discuss today. Ooh, straight from the horse's mouth. So before you type a word, bear in mind your comments are being read by Megsy. Probably not Harry so much. There's a lot to cover in this today. So, going back to the Carol Malone apology thing on GB News, I'll start with this, and then, of course, this led me to that, to the other. There was another announcement this morning that Harry and Meghan can produce a film. There is a lot in the synopsis of that film. I'm about to do what she's demanded that people like me do not do. Let's start with Megsy's quote, which she gave to Five Friends magazine. Yes, Megsy, I call them Five Friends magazine because 5 of your alleged friends leaked a letter that you wrote to your father years ago. The quote is, right, let's pick over this one. By the way, thank you all very much for joining me on this extraordinary journey of following this extraordinary story. This love story, Harry's very successful marriage. Oh, and there's something that I have been meaning to tell all of you for years, but I forget on every single blooming video. And it was my Graham who pointed it out. Because a lot of you know, Graham was into history, big time. The big joke that the late monarch had on Meghan and Harry, I mean, someone else might have mentioned this before, years ago, but the very first thing Graham said when he found out the wedding date is that it's the same date that Anne Boleyn had her head cut off at the Tower of London. Let me find a date for you. And I've been meaning to mention that all these years, and I just kept forgetting. I'll tell you what brought it to my mind today is the wedding part. I'm going, and there's going to be loads of visuals in this one. So, because I think you need visuals to understand this, because this is a little bit of a confusing story, but it's a delicious one, right? Anne Boleyn. I can hear a lot of you already typing it. Anne Boleyn was executed on the 19th of May, 1536. And as we all know, Harry and Meghan got married on the 19th of May, 2018. It's just that Graham felt that that was a really peculiar date to choose. I mean, it's I know that Pearl Harbor, the expression is a date that will go down in infamy. Well, that's for Americans. And I mean, actually, everyone all over the world kind of feels like that. But the Anne Boleyn thing for British people, that was, you know, to have a king hack the head of his wife off. And then not only that, the guy goes and repeats the same as, you know, he does the same thing again to another young maiden, you know, whether they're in the right or the wrong. It's the first time was tricky enough. The second time, as I understand it, the onlookers were horrified and they just couldn't believe he was doing it a second time. So old Henry, he had a bad rep, right? But not as bad as this Henry. Although this Henry, I also have a little bit of evidence he's not with her. You're going to fucking love this. I'm sorry to swear. You're going to fucking love. I'm fucking loving it. Right, yeah, I'm just going to read out what Meghan has told me and others like me not to do, including you guys in the comments. Because, well, not so much you, because she uses the word, and this is Meghan has written this. They say Meghan's spokesperson. You think Meghan's spokesperson didn't have to clear it with Madam before releasing it to people? And I mean, can she afford to pay anybody? I don't know. Has she got any staff left? Have they all left? I don't know. Broadcasters have a responsibility to inform and not inflame. Well, I'm not a broadcaster. I'm a storyteller. And I use my imagination quite a lot. Read between the lines. Express my opinions. Use free speech. Oh, if only I were an American Meghan like you, then I'd have, was it the First Amendment? You just seem to only pick on British because they're not protected by the First Amendment, which is something that you and your husband were, I don't know, lobbying and stuff to, like, get rid of those stupid amendments. Just fuck them off. Who the hell is George Washington anyway? That damn man thwarting Meghan Markle. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm going to go slowly, actually, on this one. Let's savour the moment. I know one of you said the other day, and I do agree, when is this nightmare going to end? But now it's happening. Oh, I like it that it's going slowly. I really do, because I'm savouring every moment. As you can all imagine why. Because me and my family have been on the receiving end of her and her fucking pet sugars for years. Broadcasters have a responsibility to inform and not inflame. This lie, speaking of Doria being in prison, was conclusively debunked more than 2 years ago. Was it? I don't remember a statement coming out 2 years ago. I mean, if you guys can find a link or something, is there a wiki page on, Doria going to prison was debunked? Or has Doria got a wiki page? I don't know, I've never looked. Yet it continues to be recycled by irresponsible commentators causing recurring harm. Well, actually, Megsy, I've never been interested in that sort of thing, and I wouldn't judge your mother anyway. You know me, Graham was in prison. I've been in prison. I was in prison for, I can't remember if it was 29 days or 26 days, on an extradition warrant, well, a fake extradition warrant at the request of the British government. I was held in Madrid 5. And then when the prison found out that the documents had been falsified by my arresting officer, who now no longer works for the police because he himself was arrested for conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. In another case, he was a little bit edgy, my officer. The director of the prison booted me out of the jail. So, I'm not going to hold anything against your mother, Meghan, if she has or hasn't. You won't find me being judgmental, and Graham, of course, did 5 years for attempted importation of cannabis. The Daily Mail always likes to say drugs because it sounds so much worse, doesn't it? Cannabis, which is now legal in most places, including the States. There was an antique machine gun he was restoring, which wasn't actually legal, so he got 21 months for that, but it wasn't involved in a crime. I'm digressing. Also, it says, it goes on to that. Ms. Ragland proudly raised her daughter and has never been in prison. Well, never been in prison is a different statement to doesn't have a criminal record. People can be convicted, they don't necessarily get a prison sentence. I'm not saying Doria has any convictions, I'm just pointing out that the term has never been in prison is pretty specific to I don't know what you guys call it in other countries, but in the UK we call it a custodial sentence where someone is incarcerated. So I point that out for what it's worth. This is her own statement. So she wanted to be more sweeping, This is why I think this statement was released in a fury and a hurry, and it probably wasn't thought out too well. One can only imagine the tantrums that are going on at the moment. What I would have said is Ms. Ragland proudly raised her daughter and has never had any criminal convictions. That's how I would word it. I wouldn't say and has never been in prison, because it leaves it open to suggestion, to any other commentators or critics. I'm really curious to know where this was cleared up 2 years ago. She's saying there was some sort of an announcement. It was debunked. Was it? I don't know. GB News. Now, this is the bit, isn't it? What was it I said yesterday? The wording that Carol read out and the way Carol read it out, it really sounded like someone was holding a gun to Carol's head. Not only that, it looked to me a lot and sounded like Meghan herself wrote that. GB News did not apologise voluntarily, but only to escape a defamation lawsuit, and it speaks volumes that GB News removed any trace of that apology within 24 hours of making it. No, Meghan, what speaks volumes is this fucking statement. That's what's speaking volumes to me personally at the moment. It's a Condor moment, isn't it? Anyone remember that? The cigars on the TV. Where the music, was it Gymnopody that would kick in? And, just at those moments in life, this is definitely, and then guy would light up a cigar. So, anyone out there now who tells any of you Megsy doesn't watch these YouTubers. Megsy clearly watches GB News, number one. Megsy clearly watches Dan Wootton. I think that's a given anyway, number two. But I mean, in this statement, it speaks of broadcasters. And it goes on, it says that people online harm, you know, online discourse or something, or us people online are regurgitating it. Well, no, I've never regurgitated the fact that Doria's in prison. I've discussed what brought it to my attention and why it was current affairs. As GB News did that apology, which you forced them to do, Meghan. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known and I wouldn't have given a shit. I wouldn't have given a fuck. Whether your mum was in prison or not, I don't care. And the fact that you... How did Carol Malone's thingy go again? I do apologise to the Duke of Sussex. I've caused so much harm and I really didn't mean to do it. Yeah? It was pretty obvious, especially with the history of Piers Morgan, and wasn't Sharon Osbourne cancelled, and one or two other people have fallen under the axe, which kind of falls in with the megalomaniac dictator in high heels rumours, which, as far as I know, haven't been debunked. Have they? I don't know. How delicious. And I believe she's becoming angrier and angrier. This is my personal belief. This woman likes control. Complete, utter control. She's a control freak, in my opinion. And this is a loss of control. It's not only a loss of control. May I suggest it is a positive loss of dignity. If she had ever had any in the first place. To release such a barrage and fury. I'm telling you, she should get a YouTube channel and she could just sit down and chew the fat with us. We could do Q&A. Got Meghan, I've got another question for you. Meghan, I've got another question for you. And she could monetize and she would, come on guys, we'd be her biggest audience. Oh, come on, admit it. I'd be in the comments. I'd be like, Megsy, is this true? Megsy, is that true? Megsy, what happened there? And then we'd all analyse it to shit the next day, wouldn't we? Right. So then, I get up this morning, I saw that last night, and I thought, well, she's having a tantrum. She's having a meltdown. She's absolutely livid. Oh, there's more to come. Now, then I found this morning an article, which, now, this is one of these, I've never actually heard of this one before. It's a website called thenews.com. Oh, and by the way, here in the European Union, these kind of websites are being hidden from us bit by bit. When I do a search now on Harry and Meghan, I get a thing at the bottom that says some results may have been removed due to data protection, blah, blah, blah. So I get less results. And then when I click on that, it basically says that the subject matter that you're searching has put in a request that certain news items and articles be removed or hidden. They're still on Google, but hidden from people within the European Union, blah, blah, blah. So watch out, thenews.com. You're going to be on the hit list in a minute. Now, this it's not a puff piece. It's like an insider. They actually refer to a pal of Harry's, a pal. And there's a stinger in this one. This is all about the horrible PR situation that's going on with Meghan and her father at the moment. Now, at first I thought it was a puff piece and I thought she'd written it. And then I read it again several times and I realised this has not been released by her. I don't believe at all. I think this is a pal of Prince Harry. This really, he's obviously got one or two friends, but he's got some buddy. And this is the article from hell for her, really, because there's a line in it which kind of proves they're not together, which is, if this is to be believed, always take these things with a pinch of salt. None of us know for sure, do we? My God, 14 minutes and I haven't even got to the fucking wedding bit yet. Oh my God. You are going to laugh so much. You're going to love this. Really love this. This is full-blown meltdown. Well, we're going to go, let's put it this way, in the second half of this, we're going to go into Fiona's imagination just to be on the safe side. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good afternoon.
Oh, is it afternoon already?
It is, it's 1 p.m.
I've been up for hours. I don't even look at the time anymore. Anyway, I've got focus, I'm making a video. I'll talk to you.
What are you making a video about today?
Meghan Markle, what do you think? I'm following a story,
Do you
dude.
know where any of my shirts are, by the way?
They're all hanging up in your wardrobe.
No, like the other ones, the main ones.
They're all hanging up in your wardrobe.
But they're not. I've had a look.
What particular colour? Oh my God.
Grey, like the light grey.
Light grey. Well, they might be in one of these laundry baskets.
Right. That's fine.
Sorry about that. Right, so back to this article, thenews.com. Basically, I'm not going to read the whole thing out to you, but I've got a few lines in it, and one particular line. Can you take the bags out of the room, please?
No.
I think that one's mostly got your... Oh my God. It's a good job I'm editing this one together, or I might leave this in.
Why? Because I'm just such an intrusive...
No, you're not, darling. I just want to finish the video.
Well, imagine I'm not here. Just imagine I don't even exist in the room.
Just imagine he's not here, guys. He's not here. It's lovely to have you here.
That's good. Please say that. Okay.
Just please, I'm begging you, look in your wardrobe at things that are hung up. These are my clothes, so it's sparkly dresses. They're not your things, okay?
Alright.
All right? Because I spent hours cleaning your room while you were away the first time.
Hours.
Hours. Your wardrobe is like Austin Reed. Let's get back to the news.com. Right, so Harry's pal says he hates negative press about Meghan and her father. Right, he doesn't like it. He's still siding with her. Now, that's a very unusual way to phrase things, isn't it? If ever there was a Freudian slip, he's still siding with her? My God, if someone had said that about my Graham and me, or me and my Graham, both of us would say, what? What do you mean still? That word still, whew, has huge connotations. It's also quite a half-assed article, which is another reason that I believe it's one of Harry's actual pals. They're like, yeah, you know, he really feels sorry for her. He's still siding with, you know, he's still willing to stick up for her. Even though, you know, it should normally be followed up with, even though they're no longer together, that sentence. He's still siding with her, even though they split up ages ago, even though he fucking hates her, even though they're getting divorced. That's how that sentence comes across to me. Well, I mean, I don't know. English was not my strong subject at school, but I've been speaking it all of my life, and I'm going to be 56 next year, so I've been speaking it for at least, well, I suppose I started talking at the age of 2, 3, you know, I've been speaking it like 53 odd years, and in a normal connotation with voice inflection and the way someone would say, it's like when someone says, oh, I don't have a problem, you know the next word, don't you? Or, oh, I've always liked that person, but... We all know when there's a but, they're going to say they're dead fucking opposite. Anybody who says that, we all do it, don't we? So he's still siding with her. It's like an incomplete sentence. Even though they're no longer together. They're split up. They're getting separated. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, it gets juicier when I get to the wedding story. Oh, my God. Where's that fag gone? And then it goes on to complain and say, you know, even Meghan is beginning to think that she should contact her father and reach out to her family, even though she knows. See, and there are actually a load of even those in that article. It's like someone proofread it, reread it again and thought, we better take that even though out. Prince Harry's still siding with her, even though, you know, it would take that bit out. It's a really weird quote from the pal. And this is not an insider, this is a pal of Harry's. It's almost like she's been ringing him, whinging. Harry, my dad, help me. And he's gone, oh, fuck off, for God's sake. I'm not talking to you, Ben. So stop her ringing. All right. Listen, Lord Pisspot or whatever, you know, whoever his mate is. do us a favour, fucking ring one of these puff people and just say, all right, yeah, it's really bad. I'm really sorry for her. But I mean, she's behaving like a fucking bitch. Oh, that's the other thing it says in the article. Harry's pal says, did I write that bit down? No. Yeah, he says, Harry hates all the negative press Meghan is getting on her dad over the situation with that. But the pal continues and says, well, she has stirred a lot of shit up online for herself anyway. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? The screaming tantrums. Finally, I believe. Slowly but surely, of course, none of us are privy to anything that's going on behind the scenes. So, I mean, we really don't know. So it's like following the clues, putting a puzzle together. I mean, that's why I follow the royals, because it's like playing a puzzle game all the time, constant. And it's fascinating. So yeah, basically Harry thinks, according to this article, Harry and his pal thinks, well, she's brought a lot of this on herself. She's fucking stoked up. It's an interesting phrase. I kind of wish I'd written it down. I'll tell you what, I will put a link at the top of I will remember. I know I've forgotten before, but I will remember. And I'll drop one in a premiere. And you can read it yourself. But admits she stirred a lot up online. I think that is the quote. He hates the negative press Meghan's getting, but admits she's stirred a lot up online. Yeah, that is the quote. She's a stirrer. She stirred it up. Isn't that an interesting phrase? Because, I mean, maybe it is that if any of this is to be believed or accurate, and it is a pal of Harry's. I'm just saying, I believe it. Whether you believe it or not, that's up to you. She stirred a lot up online. Well, on an evidential basis, I suppose, because, I have my suspicions as to what may or may not have happened with paid PR and online campaigns, which do happen. The actual evidence is, I suppose she has stirred stuff up online by releasing the fact that she sent a letter to her father when he hadn't said a word. So if this is to be believed, Harry and his pal could be referring to that, or they could be referring to something else, couldn't they? Well, what do you expect, with fucking complaining and I don't know. I shall let you guys draw your own conclusions over that. And then I was very surprised. Yet another revelation came forth this morning. Called the wedding date. Now, apparently, and this was released, I suppose, at the time that I found it 15 hours earlier, because I've got a screenshot. Now, Harry and Meghan apparently are going to produce a film called The Wedding Date. So that Meet Me at the Lake, whatever happened to that? Oh, just forget about that one. What happened to As Ever and Was Never? What about Pearl? Got cancelled. The Bench, the boy on the bench, no one fucking talks about that anymore. That was a shit bomb, move on, pretend it didn't happen, let's move to the next one. So forget Lady by the Lake. Any of you out there that were hanging out to see that wonderful movie, was it Lady by the Lake, Lady Drowns in the Lake, Meet Me by the Lake, Make Me at the Lake? I can't remember. It was something like that. Was it something truly gripping? Well, now, this morning, they say no. Well, they haven't mentioned that. They've said that Harry and Meghan are going to make a film called The Wedding Date. And this is where it gets super, super fucking weird for me. Now, I'm going by Google. You have to excuse my jumper, by the way. It's a bit nippy here today, and I'm going to do some DIY and painting and stuff. So I'm quite scruffy today. And I couldn't wait to tell you guys all this. Now, there's the wedding dates. Okay, let's get this clear. There was a film made in 2005 called The Wedding Date. And it was based on a book written by Elizabeth Young, and her book was called Asking for Trouble. Right. That apparently is not the book that Harry and Meghan are going to make a film on. But I mean, it might as well be, because the story's exactly the same, pretty much. I'll explain. The film that Harry and Meghan are going to apparently make for Netflix, no less. I mean, it's just a bold announcement. We're making a movie for Netflix. You know, just throw that out there. Why not? Why not? I mean, I haven't seen any confirmation from Netflix, so I've no idea. Is this just another fucking let's throw some mud at the wall, see if it sticks? You know, I've got nowhere else to go except go see my fucking dad. Maybe that's how she's feeling. So the film that Harry and Meghan are allegedly going to make is based on a book called The Wedding Date, written by Jasmine Gilroy. Now, the two stories, to me, they are both books that were published. One has had a movie made and the other has not yet. So the Elizabeth one was they made a 2005 movie, and I've watched trailers, I've watched clips, and oh my God, how I laughed at the storyline, how I fucking laughed and laughed and laughed. And then I realised, I mean, I was actually quite confused. I thought that was the one. I thought, why are they making a movie about a book that someone has already made a movie about? I mean, if it's a big story like, I don't know, Wallace and David or the Civil War or Pearl Harbor or, you know, something is a big event, then yeah, people make multiple movies. I mean, Titanic's had quite a few, hasn't it? But not this particular sort of thing. It's a chick flick, okay? And it's right up Meghan's street. So in the one that in the original one, which one should we cover first? Well, let's cover the one that was made in 2005, because in my opinion, you couldn't see daylight between the two stories. So the film that was made in 2005 called The Wedding Date, with it's got an identical name to the one Harry and Meghan are going to make, is based on an American woman, who is dumped by her British boyfriend, who's quite posh. And then her ex-British boyfriend. So I'm going to use my imagination here. Let's imagine Harry and Meghan are playing the characters. So we've got Meghan, just a little old wholesome American woman. And she's been dumped by her British guy, who would be Harry. They've separated. But there's a chance they can get back together because there's a wedding coming up. The ex-boyfriend, the British ex-boyfriend, his brother has got a wedding. Or is it her sister? No, it's her sister. That's right, it's her sister has got a wedding. And her ex is going to be the best man. And she can't just turn up at that wedding with no date. So she pays a guy, like a gigolo type, to pretend to be her boyfriend. She pays him $6,000 to go to the wedding with her. Well, it turns out that the gigolo is so much better looking and it all works and it makes the British ex so jealous, but she ends up being with the American gigolo. Think of Marcus Anderson, right? I'm just throwing a name out. But there was that really hunky photographer that she was photographed with. Do you remember that? And she was all draped on him. They're just playing characters. They're just playing roles. I'm not saying this has happened or is going to happen. So whose wedding could it possibly be? Let's think. Because Peter Phillips. Now Peter Phillips has recently gotten engaged. He's got his second wedding coming up. I looked up what date is the second wedding. Now, I'm not sure if this is to be believed or not, because I found all this stuff about Peter Phillips' wedding. And I mean, it says Harry and Meghan haven't been invited. Well, it wouldn't be the first wedding she's crashed, would it? I'm only joking, Meghan. Well, I can feel her squeezing that glass of orange juice and champagne smash as she's watching this on her big screen. Right, where did I write? I made a load of notes about this. Oh my God, where have I put them now? Wedding. Yes, here we go. So I looked up Peter Phillips' second wedding and when it's going to be, and it's like, oh, no one knows yet, no one knows. But then there was a Facebook post that said, oh, this publication's got an insider who's dished all the dirt. And I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's kind of lovely actually. And they said that Peter Phillips' second wedding will be on the 26th of April 2026. I don't know if that's true or not. this article was in a thing. What was it called? It was called, you know, it was one of these stupid ones like that news.com, but I can't remember which one. I'll try and put a whole series of links in the description, actually. So you can go look at these things yourself. And in this article, it says, oh, it's called Grow Global 24. That's the name of the website, the article. It claimed in it, which was like totally incorrect. It said that Peter Phillips, and I forget the lady's name he's going to marry, but anyway, that they're going to get married at Whitehall Palace in a chapel that no longer exists because there was some big fire, right, back in the 1600s. So, like, if you think King, and they said they're going to get married in the same place King Henry VIII married Anne Boleyn. That's right. And that's when I saw the name Anne Boleyn, I thought, oh God, I've just remembered Graham always said, wasn't it weird that the royal family chose the date of Anne Boleyn's execution for Harry's wedding? Ooh, that must have been a bit of a private joke, mustn't it? So anyway, I looked up I knew that the Palace of Whitehall had burnt down. It's, you know, it's Whitehall, where we went for the OWO raffles in London. That's a Whitehall. But what I didn't know is that there is a part of the Palace of Whitehall that still exists. So, I mean, it's not inconceivable Peter could get married, have a second wedding there. It's very discreet. It's called the Banqueting House, Whitehall Palace. Apparently, it's the only part that remains. And they do weddings there. Isn't that lovely? So that's possible. Now, I'm going to show you some photographs. They've got the main hall, which, oh, goodness me, I think is stunning. I mean, I can just imagine Henry VIII and the Stuarts and stuff. Oh, wow. And then they also have this thing called the Undercroft, which is like a crypt. Now, a lot of buildings in London have a crypt in the basement. Threadneedle Street has a crypt. You know, loads of them have crypts, and they have vaulted ceilings. Now, this article in Grow Global 24 said that Peter and his new bride will marry in the vaulted ceilings, but they'd kind of incorrectly said it was the part where Henry and Anne Boleyn got married, which can't be because it doesn't exist anymore. But this Undercroft does exist, and yes, they do civil weddings. And I think that's wonderful if he does choose that venue, and it's very discreet, you know, and so the public wouldn't be there. Peter Phillips, as we all know, is a cousin of William and Harry. And there was talk that being a peacemaker, he'd invite them both. But I mean, this, according to this little tidbit insider, Harry's name isn't on the guest list. Or is it more the case that Meghan provided the information? I'm just theorising, Meghan, calm down. It's a theory that some information may have come forth. And that's why there was a bit of a misunderstanding between where Henry and Anne got married and the Undercroft, you know. That one doesn't exist and the other does exist, but interesting, isn't it? It's an interesting theory. Well, then if someone wanted to say, well, I don't want Meghan there, then Harry would be left with a bit of a quandary to say, well, I've been invited, but you haven't, Meghan, if you see what I mean. So Harry, being the brave soul he is, probably would take the cowardly route and say, neither of us have been invited. I'm not going. You know, Peter hasn't invited me either. All fingers crossed behind back. Well, where is it gonna be? Oh, you know, Whitehall Palace or some shit where Anne Boleyn got married to Henry VIII. I don't fucking know. Anne Boleyn, they're gonna get married at the Palace of which is where a misunderstanding could potentially have cropped in. Of course, I don't fucking know. It's not like Meghan rings me up and tells me people. I can only do so much. Now, the other thing about this film, the wedding date, is that one of the clips I watched, this like best friend rushes up to this American girl who got dumped by the British guy and says to her, oh, come, be with me. And then turns to the British guy, the ex, and says, I'm your cousin and you unceremoniously dumped my best friend. So she could be played by Eugenie. Just putting it out there. I'm just putting some ideas out. I mean, she might actually pick up on these ideas. But as I say, this film that I've just watched some clips of from 2005 is not the same. It's a completely different story to the one Harry and Meghan are going to make, called The Wedding Date, which is, the basic synopsis of that is, it's a guy who hires a prostitute to pretend to be his girlfriend to go to a wedding of his ex. And again, it's across Atlantic, you know, there's a British one and an American one and British wedding and stuff. So totally different. What do you make of all that? Well, I'll see what you make of all that, because I'm going to be in the comments with you. Interesting. I mean, let's go into Fiona's imagination right now. I believe he's left her. In my imagination, he's left her. She's having the week from hell. She's destroying herself in the press with the GB News tantrum, you know, threats of defamation. Carol Malone, I do apologise to the Duke and Duchess of Sausages. I didn't mean to say anything or cause any harm or offence to Doria. Yeah, that was really well done. They should have left that video up. They really should, for posterity. But then for me to say, what was it I said again? The wording that Carol read out and the way Carol read it out, it really sounded like someone was holding a gun to Carol's head. Not only that, it looked to me a lot and sounded like Meghan herself wrote that. And then the very next, you know, not even the very next day, it was last night. Oh, Megsy just couldn't resist confirming that one. So thank you, Meghan. Thank you. You've hoisted my credibility. Not that anyone fucking listens to me, mate. I'm not a journalist. I'm just a gobshite on the internet. I can prove it. I got an award for myself to prove that I am full of shit, and I should probably shut the fuck up. I'll bring this to court, shall I, Megsy? You know, my boat. My leaky, mouldy old boat. Isn't that what your fan base said? Your sugars? Yeah. Fucking go for it. Go for it. You know, my dodgy old Lexus and all while you're at it. And you can have some of Graham's massively valuable artefacts. Oh, you can have my tiara as well, Megsy. I know you've always wanted one, haven't you? Oh, I bet she's there. She's begging for it. She's begging for it. I'm going to get her. Well, I'm the least of your worries, love. Because we are a little sewing circle of the internet, aren't we, guys? We mind our own business. We keep ourselves to ourselves. And I think she's got bigger things to worry about. But it does sound like she's been phoning Harry, and he's basically said, why don't you just go and visit your fucking dad? God's sake, I did. You're the one that's making yourself look full of shit. You're the one that's making things bad. Why did you tell the press that you'd had a letter delivered? Why did you have the letter delivered in that manner? When the man's had an amputation and he's an elderly gentleman who's trying to heal. My God, woman. I could just imagine the type of phone call. And her going, I'm going to do this, I'm going to say this, I'm going to... And Harry's just like, oh God, I just want 10 minutes peace and quiet. All right. And he's there having a few beers. He's telling his mates. He's back with his old buddies. This is all my imagination. He's in the Cotswolds going, I just want her to leave me the goddamn alone. And his mates have said, listen, oh, dude, I've got a mate. He's got a website. It's called, I don't know, fullofshit.com or whatever it was I said before. He said, I'll ring my mate up and I'll get my mate to do a little thing. What should we say? Can you imagine it? Harry the genius with all his genius friends sitting round a pub barrel with sinking a few pints, coming out with brilliant ideas. Because, you know, I know myself, I have some of my best ideas when I'm absolutely pissed out of my head. Usually, on hindsight, I look back on them and think, perhaps that wasn't such a brilliant idea. You know, so it's going to be one of them, isn't it? He's in the bar and he's like, God's sake, what's going to shut her the fuck up? What can we say? What can we say? Well, just say you're on her side. Just lie, mate. That's what I do. I've been doing it with my mum and dad, you know, because they threatened to cut me off my inheritance and stuff. I've done it with all three of my previous wives. You can imagine the sort of shit that his mates are going to come out with. And so Harry's like, oh, yeah. Tell everyone I'm still on her side. I'm still on her side, no matter what. So they've written that down, and they've sent, this fella's sent it off to his mate who's got the website. He's gone, well, we better take that bit out for a start, otherwise it makes it pretty bloody obvious he's not with her. It's a fucking disaster. But you see, now Meghan is not going to be any different to the rest of us. I'm sure a lot of you guys have had moments in your lives when you are bombarded with problems. At the moment, Meghan is being bombarded with problems. She's overwhelmed, and she's a control freak, and she likes to keep everything, you know, under control all the time to her liking. Well, when anybody has a lot of problems coming at them, they tend to make poor decisions. Very poor decisions, because they can't think. It's like, I used to actually be really good at playing chess. I was really fucking good. But then the reason I was good was because I was unemployed. I didn't want to watch the TV. I didn't want to put the TV on because I didn't have a TV license. I couldn't afford it. And I was too scared to break the fucking law. I am not kidding. So me and Tyrone had been in prison as well. So don't worry about that, Doria, you know. And who cares? People think you were in prison. Fuck's sake. There's bigger things to worry about than that. Don't you think? Anyway, Tyrone had been in prison many times, and he taught me to play chess, because it's a big thing in prison. They play chess. And he'd like thrash my ass, but because I was focused on it and we had nothing else to do, you know, we weren't watching the TV. I mean, we play hours and hours and hours of chess. I started to whoop his ass, and he didn't want to play anymore. And then I didn't play it again for a while. I mean, and we did this for like 6 to 8 months. Every night, hours and hours and hours of playing chess, because I was too stupid. I didn't want to put the telly on because I didn't have a TV license. Oh my God. Anyway, then the years passed, and then I met Graham, and Graham was really good at chess. He used to have one of those Terminator boards, and his ambition was to beat the Terminator, you know, a computer one. And he did. He beat it, I think, 3 or 4 times. He was, you got to be fucking good to beat those things. Anyway, I said to Graham, oh, I'm really good at chess. You know, I piped up, oh, I'm chess genius. I used to win all the time. Well, I was only playing Tyrone. You know, it's not like I was playing all, because you play different people, different brains, different minds. So there's me thinking, I'm fucking good at chess. So I played Graham, and he whooped my ass, and I didn't want to play again. And then I realised that the reason is because I had a lot more going on in my life. By then I did have a TV licence, and I had been watching TV, and the internet had come along, and I was busy doing stuff and socialising. And once you've got other things going on in your mind, it's very, very, very difficult to focus on chess. Well, I find it, you know, and I can multitask, but chess, you've really got to, like, well, you know what it's like. I doubt Harry does, but you know, fucking Harry. So, and I suppose life is a bit of a chess game, isn't it? So when a person is feels backed into a corner, feels that the whole world's having a go at them, and quite frankly, the whole world is having a go at Meghan at the moment, then, and they're no longer feeling control, and they've got lots of different problems coming at them. It's a really exceptional person who can keep their head when all around are losing theirs. And I feel she's losing hers. She's losing the plot. So there's sort of fantasy, this idea they're going to make a film, for God's sake. Have they got any idea how much a film costs? The budget? And what happened to the lady by the lake thing? You know, and that was another story of, you know, oh God. I mean, it didn't look too bad, this one that was made in 2005. It's a sort of film, they were popular, those kind of films back then, weren't they? And I mean, this sort of film I might watch, I suppose. Probably not actually at the moment, because I'm watching some whacked out shit at the moment. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. I'm sure that's more than enough. I can see Meghan screaming down the phone at her fucking lawyers right now, going, "Hey!" No, I won't say it. I won't say it because I'll have Christopher Boozy on my back. But you Brits know the expression I was going to say. It's just an expression. It means you're angry. But I'd better not say it to be on the safe side. Thank you very much for listening, liking, subscribing. I'll see you on the live tonight. Again, I have no idea what time that will be. Lots of things to think about.